Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Kaliandra Eco Resort in Malang, East Java, Indonesia. For Mantra 116, the meanwhile classic mountain trail event here in East Java. 6th edition, starting tonight for the 116K that you can see here with the famous mountains Willirang and Arjuno. But without Mahapenya, even though Mahapenya, as you can see, is still shown here on the track map, but the climb of Mahapenya and the very technical descent have been taken out of the course following runners' feedback from the past couple of seasons. But Mantra 116 is still very tough. As you can see, there's almost 7,000 meters of elevation gain. It's the points race per excellence in this event, but we also have the 60k. That's for the medium distance runners. And there's a lot of them this weekend. There will be about 200 starters on the 60k. The 116, the longest trail, they will have 72 starters, which is also not bad for this race, and given the sheer difficulty, technicality of this race. At the moment, the race briefing is going on here in the Kaliandra Eco Resort. It's a very large area, a very nice place. And we see the event director, Heru Prabowo, giving a presentation. We will be talking with Heru after the race briefing, and we also aim to catch up with the couple of the runners, especially the protagonists for the race. We also take a look around first, maybe at the race pack collection and the some of the booths here, sponsor booths, the restaurant with some nice local snacks. Let's take a quick look. We're streaming live as usual on ATM Facebook, ATM YouTube and ATM Twitter, and if all goes well, we're also live on Telegram, the Telegram app. Here you can see the local food from Malang. Soto. Soto ayam? Soto ayam, exactly. This race also has a lot of support from the local community every year. And I can tell you the food here is also delicious. And of course there's also coffee. Very important for this race. The army, the military here is also very active in supporting this event, especially when it comes to safety protocols, and should it be necessary, rescuing runners, which was the case last year, of course, when one of the not local runners, but Indonesian runners from Jakarta got missing on top of Arjuno. But he was found and rescued, and he was, in the end, shaken, but he was fine. And here we have the booth of Ole Athletic with the meanwhile famous t-shirt, Trail Be With You. With Iznie. Iznie, how are you doing here? First time in Indonesia, I think.
First time in Indonesia. Yeah.
How's it going with the t-shirt?
Quite good. The sale is quite okay. Oli, what do you think?
Sounds good. Thanks, Indonesian.
All right, great to hear. Guys, you also have some good runners here from your team, Ole Athletic.
We have two runners. Ruan from Philippines. She's running for 116k, and Amirul for 60k. Yeah.
Rowan, of course, is the leader in the Asia Trainmaster ranking at the moment for women, and Amirul is also doing very well. But they're both newbies, just like yourself in trail running, right? So it's been a very successful launch of the brand and of your runners, I would say.
Yeah. So far, the reception for the brand is quite good, and I mean, we also doing well with the team, our running team. We are bringing here for the exposure, and we also have a few runners running in Malaysia currently for the Kemesah event. Yeah, so far so good.
Because maybe you can briefly explain where you come from. You have a cycling background, right?
So basically we have two brands that we are doing now, which is Ole Athletic for running and trail running, and we have one, we call it Beska, so it's more focused on cycling.
Great. And Believe Achieve is your main tagline, I believe.
Believe Achieve is our tagline, where we want people to have some belief in them, and in order to achieve something, their dreams. Yeah. So basically, it's a simple tagline, but yet it's powerful.
All right. Thank you very much, and we'll be seeing you around. Let's take a look around further at this sponsor booths of the Mantra 116 event. Here is Lari Lari ID Summit. Yeah, exactly. Summit, and next to it is Lari Lari ID. Summit is a brand by Rahmat Septianto. Yes, and he is the driving force, ladies and gentlemen, behind Sorogo Lawu Ultra. That will be the ATM final this year in December, 2nd and 3rd of December. Lari Lari ID is the distributor of T8, one of our other main sponsors of this year's ATM Championship, and already in the previous years as well. So there's quite a lot of things going on here at the Kaliandra Eco Resort, and let's take a quick look what is happening now with the race briefing and which runners we can find there. Maybe I can briefly say already that on the 116K, the top favorite is arguably Arif Wismoyono, the 2015 ATM champion, the first ATM champion in our history. And Arif won this race last year, the 75K. It was then, the medium distance was then 75K. This year it's 65K. The difference is the Mahapenya climb, as I mentioned before, has been taken out of the course. And while we see here a Trail of Men competitor, a finisher of Trail of Men. How was the race 2 weeks ago in Thailand?
It's real great. We start in the dark from 10 p.m. and we almost crossing the top about 3 or 2 hours later. And it's very great, but can't say anything because in the dark.
Exactly, that was a comment that we heard from many people who did that race. What was your result? What was your name actually?
My name is Luân Do. I'm from Vietnam.
Oh, you're from Vietnam. So you traveled together with Nia Von Trung?
Yeah, he was in the second place. Yes. Yeah, that's a very good young man.
Yeah. And what was your ranking?
Sorry?
What was your result in the race?
I will finish maybe 20 or something.
Okay, congratulations. That means you also scored some ATM points in that race.
Thank you.
Are you running tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm running tomorrow with 116.
You do the 116?
Yeah. Me and 3 of my friends, including Nhân Trọng. Yeah.
Good luck for the race, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Trail of Man was a race in Chiang Mai, Thailand, 2 weeks ago. And it was a very interesting race. Not the biggest race in Thailand, but we had some very interesting results there with some very young talents appearing there in the top positions. The race briefing is still going on. So I just continue to talk a little bit more about the potential podium contenders here this weekend. Arif Wismoyono, as I mentioned, is probably the one to beat, the runner from Bandung. Last year in the 75K he won with a blistering pace. He was super quick, especially in the technical descent of Arjuno where he made the gap. He will be competing, that's actually quite interesting, he will be competing against one of the Vietnamese runners, one of the friends of the runner we just spoke with, Nguyen Trong. Nguyen Trong, of course, quite well known in Asia Trainmaster. Nguyen Trong was here last year as well, but he DNF'd in the 75K race. But the interesting thing is that he was first on top of Gunung Welirang, so first on top of the first big mountain in that race. And he just could not keep the pace of Arif Wismoyono and a couple of others in the descent. So that's why Nguyen Trong fell down to 4th place on the leaderboard. And then on that Mahapenya, that so feared climb of Mahapenya, he then decided to call it a day. But that DNF lay heavy on his stomach, and already early in this season Nguyen Trong contacted me personally to say that he wants to come back to Mantra 116, and this time not for the medium distance but even for the long distance, the 116. So Nguyen Trong will be competing against Arif Wismoyono on the 116 tomorrow. There's other strong runners, of course, like Fuminori Kondo, the Japanese runner who lives in Jakarta and has been going very well this year. In the meantime, I just continue walking around a bit. Then on the let's stay with the 116, shall we? So we also have a very strong women's field on the 116. That's in a direct comparison with last year is quite striking, because last year we only had one female runner. It was Shindy Patricia, the local star. She is from Malang. She is from here. And Welirang and Arjuna is basically her training ground. Last year she decided for the first time to take part in the race, and she finished, of course, and she won it as she was the only female participant. However, this year there's more than 10 women on the start list, and Shindy Patricia is back, but she will be challenged by some other competitive runners like Sianti Chandra, who is also from Jakarta, also from Indonesia. Chandra was second last year in the 75k and is trying to do the 116 tomorrow. She is one of those young Indonesian runners who has been around already for a year or two, but has not yet really competed on an international basis. So this will be interesting tomorrow to see what happens. Rowan Bigwasen from Team Ole Athletic, we just spoke with the team leader Iznie in his sponsor booth. She will be running her 5th Asia Trail Master race of the season. She's the overall points leader, and she has already scored 3 second places this year. So can she finally grab that victory? Who knows? It is possible. In Mantra, a race like Mantra, mountain trail, high mountain trail, everything is possible. We also have another strong runner from Indonesia with a lot of experience. Is Swastika. She's also been around for many, many years. Not so much in ATM, but she's around, and she is one to reckon with if you want to win this race. 65k, also a good start field. We have Muhammad Afindi from Malaysia. We have Amirul Amin also from Malaysia. But we have some two Indonesian youngsters who also could launch their international career this weekend. That's Rizky and Nizar. Nizar is not entirely unknown. He was third in Jember Hills Classic, 70 kilometers last season in ATM. But we have been told that both Rizky and Nizar are keen to join the ATM final this year. The ATM final is, of course, in Central Java. It's their home country, first of all. And Rizky is from Central Java. He's from Magelang. Magelang is the place where you find Borobudur, the famous Borobudur temple, and that is not so far away from Surakarta, from Solo and Yogyakarta, and that's the area where the Asia Trail Master final will take place on the 2nd and 3rd of December. Per country, maximum 5 men and 5 women can compete in that Asia Trail Master final, so you need to score points throughout the Asia Trail Master season, and both Nizar and Rizky are keen to start doing that this weekend here in Malang in the Mantra event. In 2 weeks there's actually already another Indonesian race, points race for the ATM Championship ranking, and that's Dieng Trail Ultra, also in Central Java. Now we're in East Java though, but it's all not so far away from here. That's Dieng Trail Ultra, is a little bit closer to Semarang, towards the northern part of Central Java. It's a 50-kilometer race there, also at higher altitude. The race has a tagline above the clouds for a reason. Dieng Trail Ultra takes place in 2 weeks, and we will also have Andre Sinaga going back there. Andre Sinaga is the young Sumatra runner who was performing so well in Bukit Lawang Orangutan Trail about more than a month ago now, at the end of May. He was second there behind another young runner from the army, and unfortunately he needs to focus on PON, that's the military games in Indonesia. And that tournament begins 1 week after Dieng Trail Ultra, and unfortunately he did not get the approval from his commander to compete in trail running events. He will have to run the marathon, as far as we understand, in these military games. But Andre Sinaga, the second place runner from North Sumatra, Bukit Lawang, he will come to Dieng Trail Ultra. And also Rizky, the runner I was just talking about, and who is one of the top favorites in the 65k tomorrow, he is also signed up for the Young Trail Ultra. So 2 races within 2 weeks for him. And of course 2 races is the minimum requirement to qualify for the Asia Trail Master Final.
This is the risk that
I keep on talking, and here we find Fuminori Kondi. Let's maybe have a quick word with Fuminori Kondo. Welcome to our Asia Trail Master channel. How have you been doing? You had a very good race in Bukit Lawang. What happened since then? You kept on training well?
Yeah, my this training is enough, so my condition is good. So
is this the first time mantra for you?
the second times, yeah,
When was the first time?
the last year, yeah. It's not good, so I have a little bit problem for my ankle, so I cannot push myself. So just focus to finish last year.
Okay, we wish you all the best, Fuminori.
Okay, thank you.
Fuminori Kondo, one of the favorites, as I mentioned earlier, for the 116k tomorrow. Definitely a candidate for a podium. A win is not impossible for him neither. Mantra 116 is banking a lot on safety, so the race briefing is very much focused on all safety aspects of the race. And one of the consequences of that is that one of the very good consequences, I should say, is that all the 116 runners will have GPS trackers on them, and around 20 runners on the 65k will also have GPS trackers. That means that we can all follow our favorite runners tomorrow throughout the day, always depending on connectivity, of course. And Mantra is famous for a lack of connectivity, at least when it concerns mobile phones, but the GPS devices are of course much stronger, so we are hopeful that we will get a lot more information this weekend than we've ever had in this race. And we already shared the link to the live tracking platform via Asia Trail Master Instagram, so if you have not seen it, you can go and check there. The platform is still being updated with information on the runners, so it's not yet 100% ready, but you can already save the link on your phone or on your laptop. I recommend the laptop. You get a lot more information on the laptop than on a small screen like a mobile phone. There will also be leaderboards. There will be information about the top runners, photos, and what have you. You can also watch a video even on the same platform, but that's reserved for the laptop, for bigger screens. Have a look there on Instagram. We will also share the link, of course, later on ATM Facebook. Speaking of Dot Track Asia, there is Ben Lee sitting there. Ben Lee is here on the spot in Malang, and that's also very good. Means the management of the GPS tracking is going to be a lot smoother than when I'm by myself, to be honest. So for me it should also be a bit easier, and that's why I can, for example, do a lot more live streaming videos, and I will be producing a lot of video updates as well after the start at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. is the start of the 116k, and the 60 kilometers will begin at 4 a.m.
The first 22 kilometers is the crucial time, because this is the highest climb. Most of the effort they have to put in this race.
If you want to get an idea about this event, if you want to know what it looks like out there on the course, on Gunung Welirang and Arjuno, I highly recommend you to check out our YouTube page, because there we have the race summary called The Tale of the Trail, race summary of last year's event, where we also had the fantastic drone footage on top of Welirang and Arjuno. Drone footage shot by Santosh Vazan, who will be back here. He hasn't arrived here yet, he will come later in the afternoon, but the objective is that we will again be shooting drones footage on top of Welirang. We will also be aiming for some new spots, so not exactly the same as last year, of course. We want to create some variety. Well, there in the blue, if you can see in the light blue with the red light shirt, is another good runner from Vietnam. One of the finalists last year in Asia Trail Master, but he was unable to make it to Mount Apo, but he was among the top 5 in the ranking for his country, Vietnam. And he's definitely also a candidate for top 5, and who knows, maybe top 3. He's also running the 116. Last year, of course, the Vietnam team came here and conquered. Quang Trang, Nguyen Si Yu, they won the 116 together. And there were several other good runners, like Dan Lee was here, and they all had excellent runs, except Nguyen Trong. He had a DNF. He was the outcast last year, but he's back here now, together with some of his friends. This is the second Indonesian race of the season for the Asia Trail Master Championship ranking. First one was the previously mentioned Bukit Lawang Orang Utan Trail in North Sumatra, where 2 local runners took 1 and 2 ahead of Chris Timms from Singapore. Chris Timms is also on the start list here, but yesterday he called off, so no Chris Timms at the starting line tonight, unfortunately. Chris Timms would have also been one of the favorites for sure on the 116, even though it's a bit longer than he usually does. I think it could even be the longest race that he has ever done, but he won't be starting, as I mentioned. So the race briefing takes a long time.
40K out of 64, and there'll be many food, many soups, many hot drinks, and a warm place, massage, physiotherapy, doctors, a lot of videos. So make sure you're not stay here too long, because it's too nice. And then from here,
we see Team Ole Athletic sitting there as well, with Firmeza Washington, the Australian, is also back. He also ran Trail of Men in Chiang Mai 2 weeks ago, together with Rohan Bigwasen. Also Amirul and Mohammed Afindi is also there. Let's try and get a bit closer to Mohammed Afindi. I have to go around. Mohammed Afindi is doing the 65K tomorrow, and that's a medium distance, and that's of course his strong point. He has always been stronger on the medium distance and on the long distance. And Mohammed Afindi has already won twice in ATM races in Indonesia. He won the Batur Trail Challenge in Bali, and he won Tahura Trail in Bandung a couple of years ago. Batur was last year. So let's not discount Mohammed Afindi for the race win tomorrow. There he is, sitting next to Amirul Amin, who was one of the stars of the Borneo Maler. Mohammed Afindi, Amirul, good to see you again. How are you, Afindi?
Fine, good.
Right, I won't disturb you too much. You're looking at the race briefing. We'll talk later. Yeah. Just. We have a lot of Malaysian runners here. We also have Nolela Ismail from team La Sportiva Malaysia is over there. So we'll be chatting with them a bit later on after the race briefing, because the race briefing is of course too important. There we also see Nur Amani, if I'm not mistaken, and Halimatun Saadia is sitting there also with the Zenon Poles t-shirts. Zenon Poles are our favorite trekking poles of the season. And Nur Amani with the blue shirt and the black hijab. She won the Janta Bike Ultra, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks ago. That was the candidate race. And she's one of those runners who has improved a lot, competitively speaking, since a couple of years ago. We also see there, maybe it's not so clear, but Fadzin, also Grandmaster. As usual in Mantra, there's a lot of Malaysian competitors. Still a lot of runners checking in, of course. It's a pity we have not seen Arif Wismayono or Shindy Patricia. I guess they will be resting. That's the advantage, of course, of running a local race. So we see somebody there with the MMTF t-shirt. And here's a finisher of Gunung Lawu Ultra Trail, 80 kilometers. It's actually 77 kilometers. That's the mandatory gear check, very important also for this race. And there we see Sean Aying from the Davao, Philippines, waving at us. Grandmaster Sean Aying, also a contender for the podium on the 116 for sure. He's been going well again this season, trying to qualify once more for the Team Pilipinas in the ATM final. He was there last year. There's a couple of Filipinos in the race. Roan Bigwasen, even though she lives in KL, in Malaysia. There's also, of course, Ria Batak, Grandmaster Ria Batak, and organizer of Santa Ines and Baktit Ultra. Baktit Ultra is most likely going to replace Santa Ines next year in the ATM Championship. And maybe not so clear, but in the middle there with the cap and the black t-shirt is Sianto Chandra. Mentioned her before. She is one of the Indonesian contenders for race win on the 116. She was second last year on the 75k, and she wants to challenge Shindy Patricia for the victory tomorrow. So that's an interesting battle ahead between these two Indonesian trail stars. Shindy feels like she's been around forever. Sianti is the newcomer together with Siti Nuraini. And Siti Nuraini was the winner of the 75k last year. And she's back, but she will not do the 116. She will again run 75. Sorry to say, it's 65 now, of course. Yes, 65. Halimatun Saadia with the orange and green cap there, as previously mentioned, with the Zenon Pole t-shirt. She was one of the exciting newcomers in Malaysia last year. She was part of the Team Malaysia, the winning Team Malaysia in the ATM final on Mount Apo. I believe she was also 9th place, I believe, yes, in the race result. She had some excellent races last year. Also Cameron Ultra last year, she was third. She was third in BUTM. She had a couple of podiums, but this year has not been going so well for her, competitively speaking, of course. She's been struggling to get to the finish even in some of the races. We know that she was carrying an injury a couple of months ago. Maybe she has not really recovered yet from that injury. Well, let's see tomorrow. Maybe things change.
This is the difference from Udir. You have to run around in the forest. But we omit some of the route they are very difficult last year, which is in the forest. It's called Candidate. Somebody remember that? Let's see, the steep one in the forest, not quite high, but steep and very difficult. So we omit that.
There's a couple of Japanese runners as well, as usual in ATM races. We already spoke briefly with Fuminori Kondo, but he lives in Jakarta. But four-star Grandmaster Masafumi Yamamoto is also here, and Tame Harada as well. But there's some others, like Nakamura is here, Daisuke is here. Some runners we have heard of before, but never actually met them. From Hong Kong we also have Mabel Tsang, a relatively young runner from Hong Kong. Heard some good things about Mabel Tsang. Let's see what she can do tomorrow. She's on the 116. Unfortunately, I cannot find Rahmat Septianto yet. I would have liked to have him in this live stream. As I mentioned before, he's not only a very good runner, trail runner, ultra runner. He was fourth in Mantra 116 twice before. He will finally be trying to get on the podium this weekend. But Rahmat Septianto is also a La Sportiva ambassador in Indonesia, and he is the driving force behind Siksorogo Labo Ultra of the event, of which we can see a finisher t-shirt from last year here. Siksorogo Labo Ultra is the ATM final, as I mentioned before. Rahmat Septianto for sure could have told us already a lot of insights in what runners can expect. It's always great if you can have the course designer and the event director brief us himself about his event. I'm sure we will get a chance to speak to him later on, but it will be part of our video updates, probably not part of this live stream. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the race briefing keeps on going on. I was actually thinking it wouldn't take so long. We'll just hang on a little bit more and see if we can catch a couple of runners when it's over. And as I mentioned before, we would like to speak also with Heru Prabowo, the organizer here of Mantra 116 6th edition. It's been a rather cool afternoon here. Temperatures are quite modest, which is good news for the runners. It's been cloudy, overcast. There's been no rain though. There are some weather forecasts that say there is a good chance for rain later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Hopefully not. It will make this race so much tougher always when there is rain.
That's why in this year 116, the distance is still the same, but elevation gain is lower.
And as Hero points out, 116 kilometers, 116 kilometers, 7,400 elevation gain, and the cutoff time is 33 hours.
I think this is just time motion guidance that it's up to you when you put yourself in between this, when you are positioned between the evaluation and the equipment, this is your time. Next. Thank you for Hoka.
Some more Malaysian runners have arrived at the mandatory gear check. Originally, some people who had a look at the start list of the event, the start list is available on the website of Mantra 116. Some people might have been surprised to find the name of Tahira Naimunisa on there. The 2016 Asia Trainmaster champion who a couple of years ago decided to move into duathlon with great success. Tahira became a silver medalist for Malaysia in the Southeast Asia Games last year in Vietnam. This year she was 5th in the Southeast Asia Games. Southeast Asia Games were held back to back, and that of course is a result of the COVID pandemic, so the Vietnam Games were postponed. Tahira was 2nd place there. She is apparently keen to try some trail running again, because the next games, Southeast Asia Games, are only in 2025. And Mantra was on her hit list because she came here before in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, but that was after her prime, if you can say it, after her trail prime. She was already changing at that time and to duathlon, and Tahira DNF'd in that race. So it's like unfinished business for her. But in the end, 2 weeks ago, apparently she was caught up in a traffic accident, and she in the end was unable to make it. Santi Chandra, welcome to the ATM channels. Can you have a brief word? Because you're a bit of a newcomer in ATM. Last year you were 2nd in Mantra. That was obviously very inspiring, because now you're doing the 116.
Yeah, I'm doing the upgrade one, the 116. So yeah, let's try and let's see how I will fare in this 116.
We wish you all the luck, of course. Shanti, you're a competitive runner, of course, but how much ambition actually do you have to be like a race winner in Asia Trainmaster?
Will be hard to beat Cindy. I think Cindy will be the career winner in this category. So yeah, we will see. I just want to. I mean, this is for me. I already do 100 kilometers. So I will see my body and my training, how far I can come to this. My first and main goal is just to finish the race without any injury.
That's always the most important. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the start. That was Shanti Chandra, as I mentioned before. One of the favorites. In the meantime, Ben is giving a briefing about the GPS trackers that I mentioned to you before. Ben is the CEO of Dotrek Asia, with whom we have a collaboration going. So for this event, the 116 is not only the top 30 that will have trackers, but everybody, every starter on the 116 will get a tracker, and 30 elites on the 65 will also receive a tracker. We also see there another Grandmaster sitting there in the colorful light blue finisher shirt of some event, and that's Yvette Chong, and she is sitting next to Masafumi Yamamoto, and I think we also have Salehuddin or Amir Zaki, of course. Also Amir Zaki is also there. He is Amir Zaki, the winner of Borneo Maler, obviously one of the big favorites for the 65k. I just have to make sure I'm not saying anything wrong, but yes, Amir Zaki is on the 65k. This is the platform that I mentioned to you before. Have a look at Asia Trainmaster Instagram. We already linked it, and as you can see, it looks better on a bigger screen, on a laptop, on a computer screen. But it works also on the mobile phone. It's just that some features will not be visible on the mobile phone. So we have some of the top runners there. Nyontrong, Arif Ismayono, Fumino Kondo, Daisuke Noishiki, Rashid Salehuddin, Septianto, Tang Huang Hu is the Vietnamese runner I mentioned before.
The intervals work on around about 60 to 120 seconds. They will provide an update to us. This is all dependent on which I will control manually at the back end as you're going through how far you are from the race.
Shining, we are live from the ATM channels. How are you doing here at Mantra this afternoon?
Yeah, I feel good. I arrived yesterday in the afternoon.
You had a good rest?
Yeah, I rested yesterday.
What are your ambitions for tomorrow?
Maybe just finish race with my target time.
We wish you all the best.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Sean Ying, one of the Filipinos in the race. Halimatun Saaria is waving at us. And Amir Zaki. Masafumi Yamamoto, 4-star Grandmaster, live on the ATM channels. Masafumi, you had a couple of heat strokes in recent weeks. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, I got heat stroke in Merapo, Okumusashi, and also Deep Japan. And I hope that I don't get the heat stroke this time. But back to 5 years ago, I actually got a heat stroke in this race. So I wish nothing happened to me.
So it's a bit of unfinished business for you this weekend.
Yeah, right. I just need to finish. It is my to-do list. So
We wish you all the best.
yeah, thank you very much.
Amir Zaki, quick word. So we're live on the ATM channels. Winner of Borneo Maler, that was a month ago. How has your recovery been?
Yeah, it was good. I did two races. It was also a good result.
You won Jonda bike, right?
Jana Bai and also Gombak Trail overall champion also.
So you've been very busy actually for your recovery over 100 miles in Sabah.
Yeah, but last week I did my recovery week, so I think I'm good form today. So
Tomorrow is 65 kilometers for you.
yeah,
A lot of strong runners. So what's your plan?
my plan is just to enjoy the race and finish fast as soon as possible. I don't look for other runners, but I more focus on myself.
We wish you all the best, Amir.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Etienne.
Amir Zaki, one of the stars of the current season, we can say. He finished closely behind Muhammad Afindi in Cowboy Malaya 50k. That was interesting. And then, of course, in Borneo Maler, he won the race very convincingly. And that was his first 100 miles. All right, so let's try and get a word with Norlela Ismail. Norlela, welcome to Mantra. We're live on the ATM channels. How you've been doing? You had a very good race in Cowboy Malaya last month, so you're obviously in very good shape. What are your expectations for tomorrow?
I think I have to finish. I want to finish this coming race. Yeah.
You're a La Sportiva runner in Malaysia or in general in Asia. So what kind of La Sportiva shoes will you be using tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow I'll be using mutton shoes. But the features is more on lacing and the fix. I mean the lace for this is the gaiter. It's more like a gaiter.
Okay, good to hear. Is this the first time you're in Mantra?
Yeah, this is my first time to at Mantra for this coming.
And in the meantime, I think it starts raining. Raining is usually a part of this race, but you're very good in technical races, so I expect you do a potential podium tomorrow. Is that possible for you, think, as well?
Come again?
I would consider you a potential favorite for the podium tomorrow again. So
hopefully I finish. Hopefully I will finish strong finish.
all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you. See you.
Norlela Ismail, also ATM finalist last year, and as I mentioned during the chat with her, there's a bit of a cloud burst now, so that will make the course definitely already more tricky. And maybe that is also a good moment to close this very long live stream, 45 minutes I see here. I tried to catch Heru, and I see Heru. Let's do Heru Prabowo, the organizer. Heru Prabowo, do you have 2 minutes? So Heru Prabowo, organizer of Mantra 116. Maybe we can go a bit further here. because it's so. Heru, after last year, you bank a lot on safety, as you mentioned in the race briefing as well. Can you maybe just run through what has all changed and what have you done to make the race as safe as possible for the runners?
Thank you, Chris. That's correct. This year we're putting a lot of efforts in making the safety measurements become our top priority, and that is the top of this step of the safety is basically on top of the Arjuno, because we see the risk of this race is basically from the Arjuno and surrounding going downwards, so that we are the center of the rules. The regulation is not allowing the runners going down from top of Arjuno after 4 p.m. That is make sure that the runners will cruising down the Arjuno during the daytime. There will be no nighttime, because this is the things that we see the potential risk. The biggest potential risk race in this Arjuno is going down from the summit of Arjuno during the dark. So we omit that, and because of that, center of the safety measurements, the whole rules of the race is changed. The starting point is changed, the COP is changed, and then the COT and everything is changed, because everything is centered at the top of the Arjuno cutoff point. and this is also making sure that all the support for the runners that done by organizer is centralized, centered on the top of the Arjuno going downwards. And we expect with the different measure and the prioritizing, focusing on this safety, we expect that this race will be safer for the runners, safer for the organizers, and everybody can enjoy, apart from the weather that right now is raining. So hopefully it's only until this daytime. Hopefully tonight will be stopped and everybody enjoy the race with a dry, not a wet.
Exactly. Congratulations, first of all, because it's great to see for me as well. I go around a lot, as you know, in Asia for all the Asia Trailmaster races, and to see you as organizer put so much effort into safety for, in the end, a mountain trail at high altitudes is very important, and it's great to see that you're setting the standard also for Indonesia. So congratulations for that. On a softer note, there's a lot of young Indonesians in the 116 and the 65. Maybe you have a better view than me about these young Indonesians. For example, Rizky and Nizar, sorry. How do you see them performing tomorrow?
I think the real battle that we see the fast runner, the young fast runner, is in the 60 category. Not mentioning that, it's not meaning that 116 is less, but 60 we see that so many fast young runners is compete in 60 category. Rizky, Sobiri, and then Dede Hilman, and few other young fast runners is joining in the in the 60k. So it's worth to watch their the speed, their competition, their race of the 60 kilometers category. And I cannot predict all of them fast, and most of them are maybe some of them are first time for this race. So it's not really. I'm not really able to predict which one will be going fast, but let's see.
Great, thank you very much, Heru, for these short words, and all the best for this weekend.
Thank you. So hopefully everything will be going very well.
Work still to do in preparation work. It's taking a bit longer, but at least we had a few chats still before the rain started, and as you can see now it's raining very heavily. But it is not unusual at all. The race starts at 1 a.m. for the 116 and at 4 a.m. for the 64 kilometers. We will stream live from the start, and as usual we will then after the start proceed with video updates whenever we have content, whenever we have information. We will share it with you on ATM Facebook first of all. We also stream live on YouTube, on Twitter, on Telegram, and we will also be posting photo and text on ATM Instagram. Don't forget the GPS live tracking. Have a look on ATM Instagram already. We will also share the link on ATM Facebook in a few minutes. Thanks for watching this live stream, and see